17-year-old Aaliyah Porter was the quietest girl in her neighborhood. She walked with soft steps, spoke with a soft voice, and carried her heart like something fragile she didn't want anyone to break. Her dreams were simple: finish school, become a nurse, and maybe move somewhere peaceful. But inside her small world, fear lived in every corner of her home. She grew up learning how to stay out of the way, how to read danger before it arrived, and how to pretend everything was okay even when it wasn't. She was young, but she understood pain. Aaliyah lived with her mother, Lorraine Porter, and her stepfather, Calvin Brooks, in a cramped apartment with walls so thin you could hear a whisper from next door. The building was old. The hallway lights flickered. Doors never closed right. People argued often. Sirens were familiar. But the real danger wasn't outside. It was inside their home. Calvin's temper filled the air like smoke. Some nights he was quiet as a sleeping dog. Other nights he was a storm she could hear from her bedroom door. Aaliyah always listened carefully, counting the seconds between shouts, waiting for the moment when it would be safe to breathe again. Outside, Calvin acted like a kind man. He joked with neighbors. He held doors open at the store. He nodded politely to people on the street. But inside the apartment, his voice grew sharp. His eyes grew cold, and his anger had no warning. Sometimes he got mad for nothing. For a dish in the sink, for a door left open, for a small mistake that didn't matter. He had two faces, one the world saw, and one only Aaliyah and her mother knew well, and that second face was dangerous. Lorraine loved her daughter, but she also loved the hope that Calvin would change. She told herself he was just stressed. She told herself he only got angry because he cared. She told herself he wasn't really a bad man. And even when Calvin frightened her, she tried to convince herself she could fix him. Aaliyah saw everything: the fear in her mother's eyes, the forced smiles, the tired excuses. She wanted to protect her mother, but she was just a teenager living in a storm she didn't create. Aaliyah didn't talk much about her problems, but she wrote everything down. She kept a notebook under her bed where she recorded dates, moods, threats, and moments when she felt unsafe. The pages held fear in her handwriting. Small notes, shaky lines, little drawings of broken hearts. She didn't know why she felt the need to write it all, but something inside her whispered, one day someone might need to see this. That notebook became her only safe place, the only place where she didn't hide the truth. One night, Calvin exploded. A chair fell. A door slammed. Aaliyah heard the crash and curled into herself. She didn't want to call 911. She feared making things worse. But when she heard her mother cry out, she ran to the bathroom and locked herself in. For the first time in her life, she dialed the emergency number. Her hands shook the whole time. The dispatcher could barely hear her. And when the police arrived, they stood outside the door, talked to Calvin casually, and left 20 minutes later, saying everything seemed normal. Aaliyah learned a painful lesson. Danger is invisible when people don't want to see it. The next morning, Aaliyah went to school trying to hide her fear. She sat in class quietly, answering questions, pretending everything was fine. Her English teacher noticed something was wrong but didn't push. Her friends noticed she was quieter than usual but didn't dare ask. People saw hints of her pain, but nobody reached out strongly enough to break through her walls. And in a community where trouble was common, her suffering blended in like background noise. After the police left that first night without doing anything, Calvin acted like nothing happened. He cooked breakfast the next morning. He hummed while washing dishes. He even joked with Aaliyah. But the peace didn't feel real. It felt like the moment right before a fire starts again. Still, but full of heat, Aaliyah wrote in her notebook that night, "He is quiet. Too quiet. I don't trust him." Aaliyah tried to quietly tell adults about the danger she felt. She told her choir director she didn't feel safe at home. She told a school counselor that she was scared sometimes. But the answers were always the same. "We'll look into it. We'll talk later. You're almost 18. Every adult response was slow, distant, half-hearted. Everyone assumed she would be okay, but she wasn't. Weeks later, another fight broke out. It was worse, louder. Longer, Aaliyah ran barefoot to a neighbor's door while rain poured down. The neighbor let her inside and called 911 for her. But once again, when police arrived, they treated the situation lightly. Calvin stood there calm, smiling, saying it was just a family disagreement. They believed him. They always believed him. They left again without making a report. After that second call, Aaliyah realized she needed proof. Real proof. So she began using her phone to record the sounds in the house. Arguments, shouting, objects falling, her mother begging Calvin to calm down. The recordings were quiet but clear enough to show what she lived through. She didn't want to hurt anyone. She just wanted someone to listen, someone to finally take her seriously. One day, Aaliyah finally cracked. She sat in the counselor's office, biting her lip, trying not to cry. She said she was scared to go home. She said she didn't feel safe. The counselor nodded, listened, and then gave her a pamphlet about stress and told her to stay strong. Aaliyah walked out feeling even smaller than before. She wrote that in her notebook too. Calvin began sensing something. The way Aaliyah avoided him, the way her hands shook, the way she disappeared into her room. He started questioning her, watching her more closely, noticing every phone call, every whisper, every movement. His paranoia grew, and with it, his anger. In the final week before everything collapsed, the house felt tight and heavy. Calvin barely slept. He paced the living room late at night. He snapped at small things. Lorraine tried to calm him, but nothing worked. Aaliyah stayed in her room, closing the door gently, praying softly for peace. But the storm wasn't fading. It was building. The day before the tragedy, Aaliyah walked home from school with her best friend Janelle. For a few minutes, she smiled again. They talked about college, music, dreams, and summer plans. Aaliyah seemed lighter. Hope flickered in her eyes, but when she turned the corner toward her building, her smile faded. Home didn't feel like home. It felt like a cliff she was forced to walk toward. That night, tension crawled across the apartment. Like a shadow, Lorraine and Calvin argued in the kitchen. The sound of breaking glass echoed through the hallway. Aaliyah shut her bedroom door, locked it, and pressed her back against it. She whispered to herself, "Please let this stop. Please let this stop." But it didn't. Aaliyah called 911 again. Her voice cracked. She said she feared for her life, but the dispatcher marked it as non-emergency. No officers were sent. She tried again 20 minutes later. This time she said she thought things would get violent again. Non-emergency. The system failed her twice in the same night. Those two decisions would cost her everything. At some point after midnight, Aaliyah's bedroom door burst open. She screamed. Lorraine screamed. What happened in those minutes is something only two people saw, and one of them didn't survive. Neighbors heard the chaos, but they didn't know it was a life ending. When the apartment finally went quiet, nothing felt normal. Lorraine found Aaliyah on the floor, bleeding, not moving, her breath gone. Calvin stood frozen, stuttering excuses. The world had changed in an instant. Paramedics rushed in, carried her out, tried to bring her back, but the injuries were too severe. The loss was too great. At the hospital, the doctors shook their heads. Aaliyah Porter, 17 years old, left the world far too soon. Detectives were called. At first, they treated it like an accident. But when they went through her room, they found the notebook. They found the recordings. They found months of ignored warnings that painted a clear picture. Aaliyah had been crying out for help long before she died. The notebook told everything. The fear, the bruises, the nights she slept with the light on, the times she tried to get help, the things she heard, the things she felt. Each page was a plea the world didn't answer. When the news spread, the neighborhood exploded with anger. People asked how a child could call for help so many times and still be ignored. Candlelight vigils were held. Teachers cried. Students wore ribbons. People who once stayed silent finally spoke. The police department came under heavy criticism. Reports showed that officers never made written notes of earlier calls. Nobody followed up. Nobody investigated. They treated her fear like a small thing, until it became the biggest thing school officials were questioned for failing to act. The counselor who dismissed her fear found herself at the center of frustration. People demanded answers. They wanted to know why a child's cries were ignored by the very people meant to protect her. A broken Lorraine finally told detectives the truth. She was scared of Calvin too. She had stayed because she hoped things would get better. But her silence cost her daughter everything. Her guilt consumed her. After investigators studied the scene, the notebook, the recordings, and the injuries, Calvin Brooks was arrested and charged. His calm, smooth lies couldn't save him anymore. For once, the world saw who he truly was. In court, Aaliyah's notebook was read aloud. Her recordings were played. Every word, every tear, every fear became part of the case. People in the courtroom cried. Even the judge paused more than once. After a long trial, Calvin was found guilty. Justice finally showed up, but too late to save the one who needed it most. Aaliyah's death became a turning point. Community members pushed for faster response times. Schools created new protection policies. Her story forced people to see what they once ignored. Though her life was short, her story inspired others to speak up. Young girls came forward about their own fear. Teachers started paying closer attention. Police officers received new training. Aaliyah's voice, quiet in life, became powerful in death.